A one and a two and a chick-a-boom a chick.
So here's something you didn't think you would learn when you tuned in for this week's episode of Remodelers on the Rise, and that is the definition of the word hodgepodge. Hodgepodge. So a hodgepodge, it comes from a variety of previous definitions, but it is a collection containing a variety of miscellaneous things. If you look in some cookbooks from 1903, you'll find that a hodgepodge is a name for a soup that has a lot of different ingredients kind of tossed together. But that first definition of a collection containing a variety of miscellaneous things, a hodgepodge, that is your episode of Remodelers on the Rise today. You will hear a clever little jingle. You'll hear a minute or two or three on a specific topic. You'll hear another little jingle, and then you'll hear another topic. I'll bounce between a few different topics that I believe are going to be helpful for you as you look to improve your remodeling business. Enjoy this hodgepodge. So this first part is about progress payments. So as you take progress payments, as you take draw payments from your remodeling clients, here's an easy and effective change that you might consider making. And it came from one of my Remodeler Circle mastermind groups, a very established group of professional remodelers. And the topic of progress payments came up, and one of the remodelers shared an example of theirs, and it went like this. Their example payment schedule was 25% down payment, 25% after framing, 25% after, I'm emphasizing that word, after drywall, 15% after trim, and so on. And one other person in the group kind of chimed in and said, what are you doing and why are you doing it after framing or after drywall? There's sometimes where wouldn't that just kind of lengthen it? All of a sudden you have one little part of the drywall or one little area that the customer's not happy with, and all of a sudden they're withholding that whole payment. Here's what we do. And they shared kind of their example payment schedule, which was just a subtle change, which was 25% down, 25% at start of framing, 25% at start of drywall, 15% at start of trim, and so on. Couple meetings later, several of the people in the group had implemented this shift because several of them were doing at the end of instead of at the start of, and several reported how drastically this helped and improved their cash flow. So if you're currently doing it at the end versus at the start, consider making this change. Like, go into your contract, go into your paperwork and update this. When you do it at the start, it makes the cash flow and when to send out the draw payments and getting them collected so much easier, more predictable, and timely. We want to be using the customer's money as we go through the project versus them holding some of these draw payments hostage because a certain phase of the project isn't quite perfect for them. So very subtle, little shift, a little change, and one that can make a big difference for you. Cash is king. Make sure your cash flow is solid. So this one is about Mike Trout and your sales process. I've always been a huge baseball fan. I cut my teeth actually in business by buying and selling baseball cards growing up ever since, middle school, high school. I collected cards all growing up, but right when I started high school, I started buying and selling baseball cards and set up a website called MajorLeagueCards.com throughout high school and college. Had a little baseball card empire, if you will. I think I might have averaged like $500, $750 of profit every month. It was a good side hustle and business that I had going for a number of years. And more importantly than any profit that I made, I loved it. And it taught me a ton about hustle, hard work. I painstakingly added thousands of baseball cards to my website. Year, brand, first name, last name of player, card number, just all kinds of details. I packaged up the cards. I stuffed envelopes. I mailed them out. I promoted the website and had a blast doing it. The reason I'm talking about baseball and Mike Trout in particular is because I was thinking about your sales process as a remodeler. Mike Trout is arguably the best player in baseball these days. And you know what he does every week, if not every day? batting practice. Here he is, the best in the game, and he's practicing. He's hitting the cages and honing his craft. And my question is, what about you? How much are you practicing your craft? How often are you doing some batting practice related to your sales process? Another way of saying batting practice would be role playing. I just don't like that word, that phrase very much, and it usually elicits rolling of the eyes. And are we really gonna practice where do role playing where you're the customer and I'm the salesperson? So I've turned it just to calling it batting practice over the years, because even Mike Trout, the stinking best player in all of baseball, has batting practice. Let alone, shouldn't you, as a salesperson and remodeler, do a little batting practice? All right, so the thought here is there are common objections that you hear. Wow, that's more expensive than I thought it was going to be. I don't know what our budget is. That's why I'm asking you. When can you start this bathroom project? Can you break out that kitchen estimate in more detail for us? These are a few examples of objections that you're probably hearing from homeowners as you're going through the sales process. You can probably count 90% of the objections you hear on 5 or so fingers. And my thought here is you need to write out the objections you're always hearing, and then batting practice. Practice what you're going to say. Get better and better and better at it. Improve your answer. Prepare. Build your confidence. And practice. The old Allen Iverson quote. We're talking about practice, man? Practice? You're talking about practice? We ain't even talking about the game. Bet you guys didn't know I did a mean Allen Iverson impersonation. But that's what you get for listening to Remodelers on the Rise. Let this be a reminder. Think about the most common objections that you receive and practice them. Practice your answer. Make it better and better. It's going to build your confidence. It's going to help your closing percentage. And it's going to help you be a skilled salesperson. What gets measured gets improved. One of my clients started measuring their trips that their whole team took to the supply house in a given month. Let's pause right there. Are you ever frustrated by how many times we run to Home Depot, Lowe's, run to the supply house? Oh, I forgot that. Oh, I didn't realize we were out of those. It's frustrating, right? Because you know that every one of those trips costs money to go to and from. Opportunity cost of productive work they could have been doing. It's frustrating. So my client was saying, you know what gets measured gets improved. He started counting that up, and the month that he first kept track of it, they made 83 trips. 83 trips. And my client wanted to change this, so he told his employees he had a crisp $100 bill for each member on the team if they could cut their trips to the supply house in half this upcoming month. So basically 83 down to, I don't know how exactly he measured it, because half of 83 is, 41 and a half, but it was around that 41, 42. He probably may have rounded it up because he's a kind person. It's about 42. The moral of the story, the crazy thing that happened is that, guess what? They ended up doing it. They actually cut the number of trips in half, and my client happily busted out crisp $100 bills and gave it to each team member, and they were excited. Obviously, they were motivated throughout the month. They actually engaged their brains. They actually thought about the night before what they needed. They actually prepared ahead of time. They made sure that they communicated well amongst the team to cut down on the number of trips. And a couple lessons there. One, hitting your employees a little in the back pocket, in this case in a good way, can really help. It can really motivate them. And then you guys will love this. One of the employees asked my client, hey, that was fun. Will you do this again for us next month? Basically meaning he wanted another $100. And of course, my client said, no, you just proved that you can do it. Let's just go out there and do it consistently. That employee, it's a tough thing to ask. I was saying, hey, can we do this again next month, boss? But they did. And he told him no. So just a couple thoughts there. What gets measured gets improved. What do you need to measure? Maybe it's not this. Maybe it's something else. But realize that when you incentivize your team, sometimes it's just a little fun. Sometimes it motivates them. Sometimes it causes them to change behavior. I've been doing this a ton lately where, I'll have a remodeler who I'm working with that there's an action step they really need to work on and get done. It's been a couple meetings. They still haven't done it. Usually it's one of those kind of on the business things. They want to improve this part of their marketing or this part of their financials, and they just haven't done it. And what I've been doing lately is saying, all right, $20. You either get this done by Friday at 5:00 p.m., and if you do, I will send you $20. Or if you don't, you're going to send me $20. You're going to send it up here to beautiful Brighton, Michigan, and I will happily accept it. And I've been playing games like that, kind of maybe pitting the owner and a salesperson against each other on a certain action step, or maybe it's happened several times where I've wanted them to go out there and create some videos. So I'll incentivize them and say, all right, first person, $25 coming your way. And it's just been fun. It's been enjoyable, and it's just caused action. A lot of your employees, certainly business owners, they're competitive. They don't want to lose. And sometimes, especially with things that are a drag or that you've been telling them to improve time and time again, it's fun to maybe incentivize them a little bit. That's what my client did in this example related to supply houses. How many times has he said, guys, we got to be smarter. We got to prepare ahead of time. And it wasn't until he made a little bit of a game out of it that they finally took heed and took action on it. And it's been solid in the months since then too. So there's a idea for you. How are you motivating your team? What can you do to get their competitive juices flowing? And what are you measuring? Make sure you're measuring something, because what gets measured gets improved. So it felt good to get this podcast recorded, this little Hodgepodge recording. I just pulled up, I'm looking at it on my phone, the beautiful Remodelers on the Rise logo and my podcast app. The last episode that I published was on July 19th. Today is August 26th. My assistant Bailey will probably get this up and live on August 27th. We have a goal of getting one of these posted per week. And here I am, 5 weeks has gone by without getting a single one done. It's just been a really busy summer, some in a good way, a couple of vacations mixed in, some in just a busy book of business, a lot of clients that I'm helping and working with. And the podcast has kind of fallen down the priority list a little bit. And I share this with you to remind you that there are things that you want to be doing to market your business, to improve your business. And sometimes we just botch it. Maybe we do good for a while and then we fall off the wagon, and all of a sudden it's been 3 months and we haven't done anything. I mean, this can go towards our health. This can go towards our faith life. This can go towards how we're parenting, how we're being as far as a spouse goes. I think the moral of the thought here is this: when you're slipping, when you haven't been doing what you've been wanting to do, stop kicking yourself in the butt and just take the next right thing. Take the next right step and say, okay, messed up. You know what? I'm going to go work out today. You know what? I've been eating like crap today. This next meal, I'm going to eat healthy. You know what? I have been needing to dig into my financials. I have been ignoring it. It is a problem. I am going to, instead of clicking on the TV tonight, I'm going to get a cup of coffee. I'm going to get a little bit of a spark from the caffeine, and I'm going to sit here and wrestle with these numbers and this QuickBooks and this P&L for the next 3 hours or however long it stinking takes for me to get a handle on this. Get my drift, right? So in this case, my wife is at music rehearsal. The kids are actually at Grandma and Grandpa's, and I had an open night. It's stinking 8:20 p.m. I've been needing to get this podcast done and get back on the saddle with it. And sometimes that's what it takes as a business owner, putting a little bit of extra time. So let that be hopefully a little bit of a inspiration to you. My last thought is this: I am getting refocused. Talk about kind of getting focused on something and then falling off it a little bit. I'm getting refocused related to Remodelers Autopilot. You need to be staying in touch with your previous clients. You are very busy and don't have time to necessarily craft a beautiful professional email to consistently send out to your previous clients, which you could repurpose that email content as a blog post as well. You don't have time to craft professional social media posts so that those are consistent. Remodelers Autopilot allows you to do those things very, very easily for a very affordable monthly price. So check out www.remodelersautopilot.com, and I would suggest you sign up. Hope you're having a good one. See ya.